I think hiding the main line is almost as important as hiding the rig. And in part 2 of the underwater series, we sent a diver out in the lake to film the lines, see what they look like underwater, and most importantly, see how much of them was lying along the bottom. Now, before he went out there, I would have said the last 10 yards of the mono, because it sinks, is always on the bottom. Well, that's not the case. And the reason for that is we all cast out, don't we? We sink the tip to sink the line, then we put the rod on the rest and put on a bobbin straight away. And that keeps the line so tight that it has no opportunity to sink to the bottom. So what you want to be doing is paying a bit more line off before you put a bobbin on and allow the line to sink, or better still, add a flying back lead to the line. Now, I've used flying back leads for years, but the thing that's always put me off them is that you can't take them on and off the line without cutting all the anti-tangle system off, re-threading all the tubing and doing everything again. So that's why I thought up the Safe Zone flying back lead. Now, it's a 2-part system. There's a plastic core that's got a split in it that you literally just clip on the line, and then the metal piece has got a split in it as well. You clip that on the line, push them together with the splits opposite, and then they can't come off. And it's available in 3 sizes, and that's because the heavier the flying back lead, the less distance it will come back. Now, there's a parachute on the back of all of these which catches the air when you cast and pushes it back up the line. The heavier the flying back lead, the more effect it has on that parachute, slows it down so it doesn't come back so far. So the very small one's perfect for when you're fishing in the edge up to about 50 yards out. At 50 yards it will probably fly back 10 yards. But if you cast that same rig with that same flying back lead on 100 yards, it will come back maybe 50 yards. So then you want to be swapping over to maybe a medium or a large size flying back lead. You can also take them off the line and turn them around the other way, so the bullet nose is facing the tubing rather than the parachute, and then they come back even less distance. And the rule with flying back leads is the further they are away from the lead before you cast, the further they'll come back on the cast. So if it's just sitting on top of a Safe Zone leader, it will come back the perfect distance. If you double that by putting it on top of a little bit of putty that's been moulded on the line, it will come back even further. So if you're fishing right in the edge and you want the flying back lead to come back a long way, put a little bit of putty a couple of feet above the anti-tangle system and it will fly back even further. And Ali Hamidi's thought up a good little use for these since we brought them out, is to use them actually as a back lead. So once you've cast out, let the line go slack, clip it on the plastic piece and then put the metal piece on as well and slide it down the line, and then you've got a little tiny flying back lead on the line, pinning the line to the bottom right under the rod tip. Now, I actually prefer to use a standard back lead. That's the 1/2 ounce version. I like the really small back leads because I use very small bobbins, and what I'm worried about of a heavier back lead is moving the lead as I actually slide it down the line. Now, these will only work if the bottom's really flat. So if you've got bars or anything between you and where you're fishing, or weed beds, there's no point using them because the line's going from the flying back lead over the weed bed and then back down to your rig. So it's not really doing you any favours. So in that situation, I'll just use a flying back lead. With all these kinds of things like back leads and flying back leads and all the different colours of rig components that are now available to you, there's no excuse to make sure the fish have no idea they're being fished for.